Page 72, America, a very famous melody here in the United States. It gives us some more practice at using a dotted quarter note, eighth note rhythm pattern. Let's look it over. It's 4 lines long, treble and bass clef, no sharps or flats in the key signature. You need to be doing the C major scale, 2 octaves up and down. I got a video on it. You've heard this lecture before, blah, blah, blah. Okay, go do that. 3/4 time. Let's cover it one hand at a time and make sure we kind of know what's going on in the hands. Right hand, you want second finger on the C here. So we're not in C position, we're in a B position here. And it's 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3. Remember the dotted rhythm. Here, the quarter note comes on beat 1, and it takes up a whole beat. The dot comes on beat 2 because the quarter note came on beat 1, and the dot gets half a beat, so the eighth note has to come on the and of 2. It's 2 and, so it's 1 and 2 and 3. In third measure, it's a 4 and then a 3. We just use the repeated notes to change hand positions because we need to be here now, temporarily. So it's 4 and then 3. You want to get to where you can do that without looking at the keyboard also. And the 1 and 2, and then measure 5, just cross over for one note. Because we need to stay here, so we just cross over. That's fine. Rest, and then a 3, E and a G. You don't need these finger numbers. Please don't be reading finger numbers. Read the notes. E and a G, 1 and 2. That's a trick here in measure 8. Because you got these 2 notes at a time coming down. It feels weird at first, but you need to be able to do this. You should do it in both hands. It's here. I'm going to move up here. I'm just going to mirror the hands. When you've done this for a few hundred years, it's not too bad. But the notes need to go down at the same time, hopefully. And then you connect them. And that's what this is in measure 8. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. Measure 12. And with the thumb under, we just changed hand position. But if you can do the C major scale, this is a piece of cake because this is in the scale. And then coming back down. Okay. Another advantage of doing the scales. If you can do the scales, a lot of the motions you get in the scales, you'll find in the pieces, and you'll just be able to do them in the pieces. And if you haven't been doing the scales, you'll struggle in the pieces to do those motions. So do the scales. Left hand, well, you get C chord at first, and then we get the G7 chord. We only got 2 notes. That's fine. You don't have to use all the notes. And now we have it here. Third measure. 1, thumb comes up. That's fine. There's other fingerings, but this is fine. We can do that. You can do this. Thumb doing both. 1 and 2. And then measure 6. Just lift up and come down. It's thumb. You're just going from this position to this position. So, and then just lift up and come back up. Takes a little practice sometimes because there's no rest for the left hand. You have to lift up and move. And you have to play immediately. And you're playing 2 notes at the same time. So you got to get 2 fingers in. Well, you're in that position already. Just move. Let the wrist collapse a little bit. Don't stiffen up. Don't tighten up. Stay relaxed. Now on measure 11, both of those notes are tied. To measure 12, you're going to hold it down for 5 counts. And then the last 2 measures. To the last measure, just lift up and move down. You're moving around a little more here. Put the hands together. And when I first put the hands together, if it's a tough piece, you don't worry about hesitating. You're just concerned of when do the hands play at the same time and which fingers are involved. So here we got the C chord and this. So we're here. And you're going to hold the left hand down. And then you hear these are together. And then these are together. These are together. And these these are together and these are together. So you're just going through trying to figure out getting the hands together, and then you go back over it and you gradually work out the hesitations, go over the tough spots, and you get the hands working together in rhythm. 1, 2, 3. See, the right hand has a rest there. So forth. When you get the hands together in the rhythms, no hesitations, and we can think about the articulation, which they don't really give you any, but they give you words, and you can follow the words and figure out where the sentences are. Of course, here they put in a quarter rest to measure 6, and that's the end of a phrase. You have to lift up for the quarter rest. So the articulation is kind of built in for you too. So you just connect it. And the left hand, you just connect it as best you can. Now, if you follow the words, sometimes when there's a comma you could lift up. It's like taking a breath. For instance, they have a comma at the first line. I don't think I would lift up there. Keep that together. But at the end of the second line, you want to lift up there. Lift up. Because that's period there at the end of measure 10. That's the new phrase. So you can lift up there in the right hand if you want. Keep the left hand as connected as you can. So going back to demo something or other, I don't know, start at measure 8, you're here. Lift up here in the right hand. Lift up. The left then has to come up, but if you want to lift up, there's a comma there, you can do that. That's interpretation. How do you feel it? If you feel a lift up there, then put it in. And then the dynamics go to the melody, which is the right hand. A mezzo forte or moderately loud, whatever you think moderately loud is. This left hand needs to be soft. And that takes practice. You're playing the left hand really light, and the right hand kind of heavy, sort of heavy, because it's sort of loud. Now, when you get down to the bottom, last line, measure 13, they want you loud. And you're finishing it loud here. The left hand can come up a little bit, but keep it in the background. So start at measure 12, you're moderately loud here. And you can actually crescendo with this. You put a swell, if you want to. Hairpin at the end tells you, well, the right hand die away on its own. The left hand, just make sure the last note is softer than the chord. Yeah. You need to feel the dynamics. So get into it and feel it. If you want to sing it, you go right ahead. I ain't singing it, but you can sing it if you want to. Speed, it's a majestic piece. Yeah, just in the middle. Now they've added pedal. Don't know why. You don't need pedal on this. You do it fine without, but let's see what the pedal is doing. Why are we using the pedal? Well, generally, as far as I can tell here, you're adding it more for the overtones, but we're also connecting repeated notes, because you can't connect a repeated note on a piano without the pedal. You need the pedal for that. But they're doing more than just connecting the repeated notes, because they're also pedaling measure 4. Why? Good question. I would not pedal measure 4. I want to hear the rest in the right hand. If you pedal it, you cover up the rest. Only measure 5, measure 9, and at the end. And measure 9, again, we're just connecting repeated notes. And then at the end, you don't need pedal at the end, but you can, because we can't keep this and this going at the same time. We need the pedal to help us sustain the notes here. So we get all these notes at the same time. I get all of those notes, and I need the pedal for that. So on measure 6, I don't pedal that. But right after I play the notes in measure 7, I push the pedal down. And I keep them down until I play the notes in measure 8. Right there, so it overlaps. Again, measure 6, no pedal. Now, and then measure 9 after I play the notes. And then lift it up after I play the notes in measure 10. And then at the end, push it down after I play the notes. And then lift it up at the same time as the hands. And that's the pedaling here. Some people will put in a retard at the end, make it more majestic. If you feel it, then do it. There are more verses to this. If they were going to do multiple verses to it, I don't recommend putting in a retard until the very last verse you're going to do, because it just messes things up. So keep a steady tempo until the very end if you're going to slow it down. That's interpretation. There's nothing in the music that tells you to slow down. You feel it, try it out. Let's play this together very slowly, then check all the notes and the rhythms. Not going to do any dynamics, just notes and rhythms. I'm going to pedal it like I suggested. I'll give us 3 counts because it's in 3/4 time. 1, ready, go. 1, 2. 1 and 2.